The story begins with a young boy named Sim, whose life is torn apart by war. Like many other children, Sim loses everything and ends up as an orphan. He's sold as a slave to a small village. When he arrives in Singapore village, he meets another boy, Sun, also a slave. Both boys have been bought by the same cruel man who forces them into hard labor and punishes them harshly. But despite their suffering, the two boys bond deeply. With no family and no future, they only have each other. They share a dream. One day, they'll become great warriors, even generals. With nothing but wooden sticks as swords, they train secretly in the nearby forest, sharpening their skills day by day. Time passes, and the boys grow stronger and older. One afternoon, while they're sparring in the woods, fate intervenes. A general, passing by on a patrol, stops to watch. He's stunned by their raw talent. Intrigued, he goes to the cruel man who owns them and declares, "I'm searching for true warriors for my army. I saw two promising fighters. I want to take one with me and turn him into a real swordsman." Sim is thrilled. This is their dream coming true. The general chooses Sun. Though Sim is heartbroken, he hides it behind a smile and encourages his friend. "Go, fulfill our dream. I'll keep training here." That night, the two best friends spar one last time under the moonlight. The next morning, Sun leaves, and Sim is left behind, alone. But Sim doesn't give up. With doubled determination, he trains harder than ever. His hands blistered, his body tired, but he keeps going. Years go by. His wooden sword becomes an extension of himself, and he grows so powerful that he can shatter rocks with it. He becomes a true swordsman, all on his own. One night, as Sim sits by the shore, a familiar figure stumbles toward him. Sun. He's gravely wounded and barely alive. With his last breath, Sun reveals the truth. Someone mistook him for the king and attacked him. His brother had plotted to kill the king, and Sun paid the price. He barely escaped. Before dying in Sim's arms, he hands him a map, one that leads to a village where pieces of a legendary sea crystal can unlock ancient combat techniques. Shattered by the loss of the only family he had, Sim is no longer just chasing a dream. He's driven by revenge. He sets out on a new journey, guided by the map. Along the way, he faces deadly robbers, but they're no match for the warrior Sim has become. Without a teacher, without an army, he's turned into a swordmaster feared by even the best fighters. Sim didn't hold back. With fierce determination, he took down each of the robbers one by one until he finally reached his destination. There, in the middle of nowhere, stood a quiet old house. As he pushed the creaky door open, he froze. Sitting inside was a man, and his face looked exactly like his best friend Paul. Stunned and confused, Sim listened as the man began to speak. "You're not imagining things," he said. "Your friend Paul looked just like me. That's why the general took him." He went on to explain that powerful people, including his own brother, were plotting to kill him, the real king. To protect the king, Paul had often been used as a decoy, and when the assassins came, they mistook Paul for the king and brutally attacked him. Sim's heart burned with rage. Everything suddenly made sense. His friend had died not by chance, but because he was used as a shield. The palace, the general, the mission. It was never about training Paul. It was about protecting the king. Meanwhile, in the village where Sim and Paul had spent their childhood, the king's brother's men discovered Paul's lifeless body. Realizing they had killed the wrong man, they now knew the king was still alive. And worse, that Sim was with him. The assassin who had killed Paul eventually finds them. He turns to Sim and says coldly, "That king standing beside you, he's the reason your friend died. If you want justice, kill him." But Sim doesn't flinch. His eyes filled with fury, he draws his sword and attacks the assassin. The man is a skilled fighter too, and a brutal battle breaks out. Blades clash, sparks fly, but Sim, who has trained for years without a master, proves to be the better swordsman. He defeats the assassin, finally avenging Paul's death. The king, impressed by Sim's strength and loyalty, thanks him, but Sim still can't forgive him. "Paul died protecting you," Sim says, "and you let it happen." The king sighs, heavy with guilt. "I know, but I had no choice. My brother is ruthless. If he rules this land, he'll destroy it. Paul's sacrifice wasn't in vain. I want to take back my kingdom, and I need your help to do it. Together, we can avenge your friend and free our people." Back in the palace, the king's wicked brother rages when he learns his brother is alive. Furious, he orders his best warrior to finish the job once and for all, find him, and kill him. Soon after, while Sim and the king are traveling through a dense forest, the deadly warrior strikes. Armed with a poisoned blade, he aims to kill them both. But Sim is ready. Fueled by purpose and pain, he charges into battle, this time not just to fight, but to protect the future of an entire kingdom. Sim, now a master swordsman, engages in a brutal duel with the assassin sent by the king's brother. Blades clash violently, But once again, Sim emerges victorious. He kills the attacker. However, the assassin's blade was poisoned, and during the fight, Sim is wounded on his shoulder. The poison quickly spreads through his body, and he collapses. The king rushes to his side, refusing to leave him behind. He treats Sim's wound with care, staying by his side until the poison fades. After some time, Sim finally regains consciousness. The next morning, a group of soldiers arrives. Among them is the king's old general. "Your Majesty," he says, kneeling, "I've always been loyal to you. I want to fight for your throne." The king is moved, but he knows they are still outnumbered. His brother commands a much larger army. The general proposes a bold plan. "We should seek help from the hill tribes. They're fierce warriors. If they join us, we stand a chance." Without wasting time, the king, Sim, the general, and their men set out through dense forests on a long and dangerous journey. Eventually, they reach the remote land where the hill tribes live. The tribes welcome them cautiously and escort them to their chief. Standing before the tribal leader, the king speaks from the heart. "My brother betrayed me. He stole my crown, and now he rules with cruelty. But if he isn't stopped, he'll bring suffering to all, including your people. I need your help." At first, the tribal chief refuses. The past still haunts them. Years ago, soldiers of the king's kingdom had wronged their tribe, but the king, humbled and sincere, apologizes. "If I reclaim the throne, I promise, you will never be mistreated again." Moved by his words, the chief nods, and in a surprising twist, she removes her tribal mask, revealing herself to be a young woman. "We will fight beside you," she declares with pride. A grand plan is set in motion. The king, dressed once again in his royal crown, joins the hill tribe warriors as they march toward the palace. At the gates, the king's brother's commander greets them. The tribal leader pretends to switch sides. "We want to serve the new king," she says. Delighted, the commander opens the gates and leads them inside. But it's a trap. The moment they're inside, the hill tribe launches a fierce surprise attack. Chaos erupts. The king's brother's army scrambles to fight back, but the hill warriors are too skilled, too savage. They overwhelm them. Meanwhile, Sim and the king's general sneak through a secret passage into the palace. Inside, they split up to confront the final enemies. In one of the palace's dark corridors, Sim encounters a monstrous warrior, a beast of a man, guarding the king's brother. The creature is unlike any he's faced before. Strong, brutal, nearly unstoppable. But Sim doesn't back down. With the strength of his fallen friend in his heart and the future of a kingdom on his shoulders, he battles the monster alone. The fight is intense, but in the end, Sim triumphs once again, defeating the beast and bringing the king one step closer to reclaiming his throne. As Sim pushes forward through the palace, he finally reaches the grand hall, where Rahat, the king's treacherous brother, sits arrogantly on the throne. There's not even a trace of fear on his face. Instead, with a smirk, he calls forth his most dangerous warrior. His general steps forward and says, "If you truly call yourself a warrior, then face mine in battle." Sim doesn't hesitate. He accepts the challenge. What follows is an intense one-on-one sword fight between Sim and the king's brother's most skilled fighter. This warrior is fast, brutal, and precise, but Sim has been forged through years of pain, jungle survival, and relentless training. His fire, fueled by the loss of his best friend, burns stronger than any weapon. Blades clash, sweat pours, but in the end, Sim defeats him. This unexpected defeat sends shockwaves through Rahat. The confidence drains from his face, replaced by panic. Sensing the end, he turns and tries to escape, but fate has other plans. As soon as he steps outside, he's surrounded by the fierce mountain warriors, and standing tall among them is the rightful king. With one swift, powerful strike, the king ends his brother's tyranny, reclaiming the throne that was stolen from him. Justice is finally served. Sim stands quietly, knowing he has fulfilled not just a promise, but a dream. The boy who once trained with wooden swords in the forest is now a legendary warrior, perhaps the greatest swordsman the kingdom has ever seen. The mountain tribe leader, proud and loyal, promises to stand by the king's side forever. A new era begins, united and stronger than ever. And with that, this epic story comes to an end. So friends, how did you like this incredible journey of friendship, betrayal, and glory? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy powerful stories and emotional movie breakdowns like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye.